President Biden laying it on pretty thick as he gathered top U.S. bankers, all of them really together to paint this sort of picture of economic Armageddon if the debt ceiling wasn't hiked. So is it likely, well, listen, it's not going to be hiked, at least it's going to be in place until December, but we're going to have to probably queue up the ghost in the machine again, and the drama is certainly not over. I want to bring in now the chief market strategist from Slatestone Wealth, Kenny Polcari. You know, Kenny, I mean, what do you make of this theater and these claims, right, that the failure to raise the debt ceiling would wipe out retirement savings? I mean, that is it, folks. You've worked 40 years. If we don't do this by tomorrow, everything you've worked for is gone.
Charles, I got to tell you, I found it extremely irresponsible for the President of the United States to stand up there over the last, not even just yesterday with the comments about wiping out your retirement savings. I mean, think about that for 1 minute. Think about what those words mean, wiping out your retirement savings, right? When that was nowhere near even happening. The country was not anywhere near defaulting on its debt. We've never defaulted on our debt. We're never going to default on our debt. To use the histrionics and catastrophe and disaster and wipe out retirement savings of all these Americans, it is beyond me. I sat there at my desk and I was cringing even at the thought that here's the leader of the free world kind of spewing this information. I'm sitting there going, who's allowing him to even say that on television? Where are his economic advisors? Where are these people that advise him? Because it did nothing. And then he hosts that gathering yesterday with Jane Fraser from Citibank and Adina Friedman from NASDAQ, and they had them chime in about the market's under duress because of the debt ceiling. The market's not under duress because of the debt ceiling. Think about out-of-control inflation, interest rates that are rising, an uncertain monetary policy, China flying warplanes over Taiwan. So many more things to worry about than a debt ceiling, which is going to be raised anyway. We all know it, Charles. You and I have been around this block for a number of years.
You know, and just real quick, I got to be honest with you. When Jamie Dimon starts to preach about morality, any of these Wall Street executives, I'm like, come on. I mean, listen, you're talking your book. Give me a break. Don't tell the American public about morality when they can't raise their own debt ceiling, when a lot of them are fighting these gas prices, to your point, and the miscues that they have to live with. They can't just simply raise the limit on their credit cards.
Right. Right. And so when they get up there yesterday, when I saw that, I almost, I was sitting there drinking a coffee. I spit it out all over my keyboard because I couldn't believe what I was hearing Jane Fraser say and Adina Friedman say. And then even the president, Janet Yellen's another one, Treasury Secretary. She's using these inflammatory words to create all this angst. For what? We all knew it's going to happen right to the 11th hour if they have to do it, just to create the drama in D.C. And so I think it's a shame, although it did provide opportunity, because what happened? The market sold off 3 or 4%. So you saw some names get really beaten up for no reason. And look at them today. They're all rallying back strong, right? I took advantage. I bought some ARK yesterday on its weakness. Look at it today.
Hey, I also want to ask you, I got a minute to go, but yesterday we saw a strong ADP jobs report. Your thoughts on tomorrow? We get the jobs number. Here, I want your thoughts on what we may see and what the market will react, how the market will react.
So I think, like I said in my note yesterday, I thought the ADP number was going to be a little bit stronger, and in fact it was. And I think tomorrow's number is going to be a little bit stronger, just because last month was so weak. I think you're going to see some of that bounce back this month. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of an uptick. Now, if it's a really strong number, then I think, it brings the whole Fed conversation back into place, and the tapering and interest rates. So I think the market backs off a little bit. If it's just kind of a warm number, better than expected, but not too hot, then I think the market's okay. If it's a really weak number, again, then I think, it gives the Fed cover once again to go, you know what, we're not there yet. Everybody slow down. It's all good. And they're going to keep pumping money into the system. So I'd like to see it just be a little bit warm and not super hot and not, a disappointment for sure.
Sounds great. Kenny, always appreciate talking to you. And I'm going to check out that eggs in purgatory recipe also, my friend.
It's a great Sicilian dish.